Welcome to the Fighting on Film podcast, the podcast all about classic and obscure war movies, from the Normandy landings to the days of chivalry and swords. If it's been captured on film, we're going to try and cover it. I'm Robbie of RM Military History.
I'm Matthew Moss of Historical Firearms and the Armourer's Bench. Hello and welcome back to Fighting on Film. This week we have a very special episode. Thanks to Apple TV, they've provided us with a Ellie screener to watch the brand new Steve McQueen film, Blitz.
Yes.
We're a little bit late with our release of this episode, so it's probably going to be going out a couple of days after the film actually releases onto the Apple streaming service. So you can go and watch it right now. If you don't want to listen to a spoiler review episode, you can go and watch the film, then come back later. But if you'd like to hear our thoughts on the film straight away, then stick with us. Lots to talk about with this one, Rob.
Yeah, might as well get into the cast.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So I've just done the kind of major players this week because it's quite an ensemble, this one. It flits around quite a lot. So I'll get through them quite quickly. So we've got Elliot Heffernan. He plays George. This is his debut role. I think he's 12. He hasn't got any other credits on IMDb, but this is his debut. Wow. And then we have Saoirse Ronan playing Rita, George's mum. I should mention that George is an evacuee in this, or he goes to become an evacuee. More on that later. But yeah, getting back to Saoirse Ronan, she's Rita. She's a Londoner, and she's George's mum. She's an Irish-born actress, 4-time Oscar nominee for Atonement, Brooklyn, Little Women, and Lady Bird. And she also pops up in the Grand Budapest Hotel, The French Dispatch, and the British war movie How I Live Now, which we should cover on the show at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Then we have an incredible piece of stunt casting. We have Paul Weller as Gerald, Rita's father and George's granddad. It was amazing to see him pop up in this.
He does well. He's
very,
good in
very
this.
good. Yeah, very good.
He didn't take me out the scenes. That's my main thing with that kind of casting. Yeah. If they don't take you out the scene, it's all good.
No, he doesn't. He's looking more like Ian Rush every year I see him. So the mod father himself is probably best known. I mean, listeners of the show, you don't have to tell me to tell you, but he was the front man of the Jam and the Style Council. And he's had small roles in Johnny Vegas's sitcom Ideal and Sherlock in 2017. And this marks his feature debut. So we've got 2 debuts in this. Then we've got Harrison Dickinson as Jack. He's a member of the AFS that Rita meets up with later in the movie. He's a 2-time BAFTA nominee. He appeared in the FX series Trust and The Kingsman and See How They Run, where he played Richard Attenborough, if you remember that one. Yeah, it's good in that.
When he popped up, I was like, I recognise him, but I couldn't place it. It's almost because he's not a focal point until later on. But and I was like, oh yeah, he was in The Kingsman, which we covered. Yeah,
there's almost like two concurrent storylines, isn't it? It's George trying to get home and Rita trying to find him.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really start until like halfway through her trying to find him, does it? So it's got a lot of concurrent things going on. But he was also in Iron Claw as well, the wrestling movie that came out earlier this year.
Okay. Oh.
Then we have Kathy Burke as
brilliant.
She's like a thief that turns up halfway through. She's a British comedian known for her many sitcom and sketch show roles. If you're a British listener, you'll know who she is, including Harry Enfield and Chums, Absolutely Fabulous, Gimme, Gimme, Gimme. And her feature roles include parts in Gary Oldman's Nil by Mouth, Love, Honor and Obey, Kevin and Perry Go Large, and then another appearance with Gary Oldman in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. And it was an absolute joy to see her in this.
Oh, she's so good in this. And she's a fellow podcaster. She has her own podcast, doesn't she?
She is. Yes. Is it called Till Death Do or something? It's about wakes.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Really good. I like that one. Come on, Kathy, if you're listening. Come on the show. We'd love to talk to you.
Oh, that'd be great, yeah.
Oh, it'd be amazing. Then we have Benjamin Clementine as Ife. He's a Nigerian auxiliary fire service member that George meets up with. He's a British actor, singer and songwriter and composer. And his only other film role to date was in 2021's Dune remake. And he's got a couple of upcoming roles, but he's mainly known for his singing. He's appeared on Jules Holland a couple of times.
I was quite surprised to see him in an acting role, actually. I was like,
I thought you'd know him. You're our resident music man.
I thought he did really well, though. Like, there's a couple of scenes in this where he really steals it.
Oh, he's fabulous in this. Really great. Really great. Then we have Lee Gill as Mickey. He runs an underground shelter that Rita finds. and he's known for his roles in Joker and its sequel, Foile a Flop. Sorry, I mean Foile a Dieu. Um, and Game of Thrones. And finally, drum roll, please, Mr. Moss. After years of waxing lyrical about him every chance we get on the show, it's his only second podcast appearance, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Stephen Graham, OBE, as Albert, the head of the gang of thieves that George is forced into alongside Kathy Burke.
Great little role, great little sequence with him when he pops up.
Stephen doing Stephen things, isn't it?
Chewing the scenery, literally.
Absolutely gobbling it
Amazing.
up. So you'll know him from 2017's Journey's End if you're a long-time listener. He's also in This Is England, Boiling Point, Snatch, The Irishman, Boardwalk Empire, Peaky Blinders, and Greyhound, to name but a few. One of our finest character actors I think this country's ever produced, and I don't care who knows it.
I'm going to have to email this to him. Be like, listen to this. Rob's just giving you the most.
Come on, Steve. Come on.
The most beautiful.
he's just
description
fantastic.
Of your career.
He's just fantastic. I just love him.
No, he's great. He is a really good actor, and he's great in this.
What I love about him so much is that he does bit roles, he does big roles, he does it all. He's not afraid to take a small role in something.
Every interview I see with him, it just comes across that he's just really pleased to be working.
I think
he just enjoys acting.
And he has a great way of doing things. His wife's his agent, and she helps him pick things. And his TikTok of his family is really funny as well. We love him here at Fighting on Film.
Is he on TikTok? Oh wow, didn't know that.
I think it's TikTok or Instagram. It's him and his kids. It's really fun, really cute and fun. Yeah. Get that man a knighthood. That's all I'm saying. Come on.
He'll get there eventually.
He better do. Him and Kathy Burke deserve like sort of Oscar, BAFTA noms for this.
Dame Kathy Burke, that'd be great.
Oh, Dame Kathy. Oh, she'd love it. She'd love it. Anyway, that is pretty much the cast this week. I think they're all consummate. I think they all do a fantastic job.
Very strong.
The script is strong as well for me too, which helps. But yeah, that's the cast this week. Matt, you're on to production.
Right. Let's jump into production then. So as I mentioned at the top of the show, the film was directed by Steve McQueen. He's a director, producer, writer, and visual artist, and he also wrote the screenplay for the film. Yeah. He's probably best known for 2008's Hunger, 2011's Shame, and then the one that kind of cemented his reputation is 12 Years a Slave that dropped in 2013, which is a great film.
The film that I thought was going to catapult Chiwetel Ejiofor into stardom, and it didn't happen,
I don't know.
And it really made me cross.
Bizarre.
I know.
And also last year he directed Occupied City, which is kind of like a story of Amsterdam that tells the story of I think it's a family that goes. It discusses like their experiences during the Second World War and occupation, and it runs right through to the present day and touches on COVID and all sorts of other stuff. I haven't actually seen it, but I really wanted to see it at the time when it dropped. But then I completely forgot about it. It's one of those films. Yeah. And then when I was doing the notes for this, I was like, oh yeah, of course he did that last year.
Yeah, so, he's certainly one of our like sort of auteur, I think, directors.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, he's
what Chris Nolan wants to be.
Ooh, damn. I mean, that's
It's quality, not quantity.
I mean, he works with a lot of people that Nolan works with.
Yeah, he does.
Speaking of which, Hans Zimmer provided the score.
Yeah,
Zimmer's has an insane list of credits, but let's dive into a few of them. Crimson Tide, Muppet Treasure Island, Broken Arrow, The Rock, The Thin Red Line, Gladiator, Pearl Harbor, Black Hawk Down, Tears of the Sun, Last Samurai, Shark Tale, Inception, Dunkirk.
Shark Tale? Really?
Shark Tale.
No way.
Dune and Top Gun Maverick as well. So
wow.
Hans Zimmer. You don't really need to introduce Hans Zimmer.
No, you don't.
We know.
Don't. And the score in this is great.
Understated. It's actually understated.
Yes.
It's got none of that Zimmer, the 2010s like swamp,
it's nothing like that. No,
it's.
I think the movie is understated though.
I would agree with that. Yeah,
I think it works.
I would agree there, and I think it's understated in the way it's shot as well. It's the way it's shot is really quite artistic. I liked it. The cinematography was handled by Yorick Lasseau. He's done lots of French cinema, art house, independent film. Some of his more mainstream pictures include Little Women in 2019 and Evolution in 2021. I was really struck by a lot of the sequences and the cinematic choices that were made. I think McQueen and Lasso worked brilliantly together. I thought it really it kind of captured that. It's almost like a road movie at times because they're traveling from point to point through London, and it's no small feat to cover that much ground. And we'll talk about that in a minute because a lot of ground is covered in this film.
Heck of a lot, yeah.
Also essential to capturing that kind of essence is the art direction. So we don't normally touch on art direction, but this week I thought I would. Art director was Bill Ambrose. He worked on the Great Expectations series in 2023. Recently, he's worked on Beetlejuice 2, and he's also working on the next Jurassic World film. Completely a sidestep away from this kind of film to something very different. Costume design was provided by Jacqueline Duran, who is a 2-time Oscar winner for Anna Karenina and Little Women. She's worked on Pride and Prejudice, Atonement, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Anna Karenina, Darkest Hour, Peterloo, 1917, and most recently Barbie.
Wow, what an eclectic mix that is.
Quite a credits list.
No, I think that to me the costuming this was bloody good.
It was. I was quite impressed. We had anti-racism consultant was provided by Umpula Lawton, and she's an anti-racism and equality educator, does a lot of work with schools. She was a founder of Arise. Worth mentioning that because the film touches a lot on those racial issues. It's a McQueen film. He's going to touch on that kind of stuff.
I think it's done tastefully. I think it's tastefully.
I would agree.
I think it's done well.
So I thought I'd mention her role in this. Then on the historical sort of side, we've got Jessica Bradbury, who worked as the researcher on the film. She's previously worked on Masters of the Air and the new Joy, which came out about IVF. The invention of that and the furore around it. Oh, yeah. And then her next project is Pressure in next year, which is the story of the meteorologists and D-Day. Yes. So that'll be interesting as well.
Being Monty in that one.
Yeah. And then historical consultant for the film was Joshua Levine, and he's a historian, probably quite recognizable as a talking head, done a lot of TV work since the early 2000s. He's written a lot of books within the Forgotten Voices series, which he's done Forgotten Voices books for Dunkirk and for the Blitz. He was also the kind of series advisor on Lucy Worsley's Blitz TV show.
I remember that. That was good. And I think he did Dunkirk as well, Nolan's Dunkirk.
He did. I was about to mention that. He was the historical consultant on Dunkirk, which before this is probably his other biggest film advisory role.
Yeah.
The film had a very limited US and international release. I did manage to find that it made just over 1 million at the box office as of this week. But as always, it's a streaming film, Apple especially. Don't really release budgets.
Well, it's probably worth mentioning that I think it was last week, at the time of recording, that they put out a statement saying that they'd spent $2 billion on original programming.
Yes.
So I assume some of that went on this. And
I would guess a significant chunk, somewhere in the 150 million range, maybe 200. The money is on the screen.
Say a little bit less. I'd maybe say a little bit less.
Maybe 100. Yeah. It's hard to tell because certain directors can really stretch a pound.
They can.
Then just to round us out on production, filming locations for this were quite interesting. So obviously some of the shots were done in London, in Westminster. And then there was also a lot of it was filmed in Hull, which I was quite surprised by. In Hull Old Town, some of it
Blitz link there, the whole Blitz.
Yeah. The docks and the railway station as well. And then I think that sequence where you see the docks burning, part of the overlay of that is Chatham Historic Dockyard, which is stood in for London's docks. Yep. And then obviously a lot of the internals were done at Shepperton Studios as well. So that kind of rounds out production.
No, it's good. No, it's really, sometimes with these streaming movies as well, you get very little put out about the production as well. So no, good job, mate. Very good. And I think we're going to go straight into the alley tally.
This is 5 to Alpha. Contact now. The grid. 852-676. Approximately 4 tanks and 10 APCs moving directly towards the wood. I'm observing over.
Hello, Sunray.
Fighting on Film has partnered up with warfaremedia.net to give our listeners exclusive discounts on a range of high-resolution Cold War adverts, propaganda, and recruitment posters. From blowpipes to nuclear threats to weapon schematics, Warfare Media has you covered. Visit warfaremedia.net today and use the code FOF20 at checkout for 20% off high-quality Cold War posters. I repeat, FOF20 at checkout. Over.
Roger, out to you, and take action now. Send us SITREP as soon as possible. Over.
It's time for Alley Tally on Fighting on Film.
I kind of found it hard.
Yeah, it is. I was about to say it's not a typical war movie in the fact that it's focused on the military. So it's not kind of a military alley tally this week. It's more of a broader.
It's a home front alley tally,
and that is overdue. This is
very much so.
This
it's testing my knowledge. I must admit.
This is probably the most detailed look we've had at the home front since Hope and Glory.
I'd say that. Yeah.
Or maybe some of the Foils War.
Or what about that? The World of Flame or whatever it's called, that BBC series
that as well.
That was it was all right.
Yeah. I mean, this is another level.
This is another level. Yeah. I mean, for me though, the one thing that I love seeing was the auxiliary fire service uniforms.
Yeah, BFS stuff was great.
Brilliant. Them in with
some top of my list
wardens, helmets on, some with just the firefighting stuff on. Really good.
With the little like capes, like the little
the wax
bits tied up at the front.
The wax thing.
Wax, on the helmets. That was really cool.
Really nice.
Another really cool thing I wasn't expecting to see in this was the BBC van turn up. That was special.
Beautiful. That
was really cool.
Just expertly clippy BBC people that came with it. Really good. It's
great. They pull up at Saoirse Ronan's factory, munitions factory, which again was pretty cool. Actually,
fabulous to see. Yeah.
She's there on I think it's like a drill press or something, and they're all like it. I thought it was weird though. It starts off with laughter in that scene, and I thought that's a weird setting of the tone for this scene.
I think everyone was like, they're just getting on, aren't they? They're getting a job done.
They are, no, but I thought that's going to throw some people.
Yeah, well, anyway. I think it juxtaposed it because it's like we think, factory work, it'd be really serious, but these girls are there.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
They've got their kids to worry about, trying to have a bit of fun there. The thing in that sequence that I love seeing actually was the painting of shells, because I think that's never really seen. Yeah. I really love that.
No, there's a lot of detail thrown into those bits, but I really like that when because the BBC turn up at the factory to do like a talent spotlight. They go around the factories and they get someone with a talent and they go on the radio and it's like a morale boosting show. And Saoirse Ronan sings, which she does a very good job of, actually.
Very good. I think she said she took the role because they were singing in it and she wanted to do some singing.
Okay.
Yeah.
She felt like doing a little duet with Paul Weller, did she?
Mate, that would be brilliant.
Yeah.
we kind of
she did at the piano.
We did kind of
a little bit,
it,
didn't we?
Yeah. And then Paul probably went, "You do something to me." No.
Oh, the bit where they introduce him and the cat's sat watching him at the piano. I thought that cat's waiting for him to do "You do something to me." I can tell.
The cat was a paid actor. The cat was fantastic.
The cat had about 40 seconds of screen time. That's good. That's good rate. That
the cat BAFTA.
Yeah.
She get a cat BAFTA. It's great. Yeah, brilliant.
Really strong. Really strong from the cat.
Strong acting for the cat there. Yeah.
Wasn't listed on his IMDb page though. So.
Yeah. Well, I also love seeing the Bofors guns being towed around.
Pretty cool. Get a little shot of one being used as well at the sort of climax of the film, which was cool. For me, the real alley of this film is the mise en scène.
Yeah, because the set dressing is
very,
fabulous.
very, very strong.
Yeah. Everything uses authenticity. There's little things going on in the background, even down to, this is the thing I look for because I'm weird when I watch movies. If they're on a bus, right, or if there's a scene with a road and the road's far off shot, I always look in the distance at the road because some movies don't do it. So there's a scene in Invictus, random movie to mention, but there's a scene where they're talking about the rugby, and like a modern Land Rover goes by, and it's meant to be 1995, and a 2012 Land Rover goes by.
Like the Robin Reliant in Mosquito Squadron.
Exactly.
Or was it 63? actually. Yeah.
In the bus sequence where George is trying to get home, I went back and looked through, and there's little 40s cars driving around.
Do you know what? I think this film is going to be one of those films where you go back and you watch it and you'll pick up little details that you missed the first time.
Yeah.
I think you can do. I think it's going to be one of those films with a very deep sort of backdrop.
Yeah, I like seeing all the extras, some in like Navy uniform, some in Army uniform, some guys wearing warden stuff, people just going around their business. It felt real, it felt lived in.
It did.
I think that's really nice to have. But in terms of actual alley, there isn't really anything I can sort of pin my hat on properly, other than the AFS uniforms.
The AFS was just that opening sequence really struck me. I was like, okay,
it was like a scene from Fires Were Started. Yeah,
exactly. Which, if you haven't seen Fires Were Started, you need to check that out. That is
1942, 43 Ministry of Information film, all about the Blitz, all about the Auxiliary Fire Service. It's fantastic.
It's really, really good.
There's a lovely BFI DVD of it. It's really, really good. If you're into if you like Nine Men on the show and you're into Henry Watt, who directed it, that's the kind of stuff that he cut his teeth on. I don't think it's what did Fires Were Started, but it's that kind of vibe, that sort of pseudo documentary feel. Very good. And this, I like to think that someone's watched this, and that starting sequence with the fireman is just really good.
I think it's a good time to move into favourite scenes then.
I think it is.
I'm Captain Dale Dye, and you're listening to Fighting on Film.
God, mate, what's your favourite scene?
I found it really hard to pick, I really did. Because there's so much going on in this film. We'll touch on this again in a moment, but
it's almost a series of vignettes.
It really is, and there's so much going on. The McQueen packs so many aspects of daily life, and from the period into this, touching on the upper class, middle class, the AFS, the munitions stuff, the underclass, the criminals. That was really nice inclusion. Wasn't expecting it, but I was really pleased, and the casting for that was great. Burke and Graham, just brilliant, really good. I think that sequence, the sequence at the beginning where the AFS fireman's struggling with the hose and it knocks one of them out. The hose like whips up and it knocks him out. And I was like, wow, okay, well that in itself is a nuance that you wouldn't really expect. And then it shows the three other firemen like wrestling it to the ground and getting it back under control, and then trying to fight the fire. I really like that. And I really liked, there was a bit where they're fighting the fire it's kind of near the climax, and it shows them all working like through it's probably Saoirse Ronan and Paul Weller's street, isn't it? That climax section where they're trying to fight the fire.
I think it kind of alludes to it, but I don't know.
It's a street in London that's on fire.
I thought somewhere in Whitechapel, somewhere like that. Heavily dense streets,
But there was the sequences with the AFS were really, really strong. I thought the sequence in the nightclub where it's all the blast.
I've got that as my favourite scene, by the way.
Deaths. That whole maybe 10-minute sequence is really good. I really liked as well the sequences with Benjamin Clementine. I thought, there's a bit where he's in a bunker, where he's taken George to sleep, to rest. He's on his rounds basically. It takes him there, drops him off, and goes out to do his rest of his rounds.
Isn't he?
Yeah. Basically, there's an altercation between an Indian gentleman and some white Londoners, and they kind of like argue, and the woman's trying to put like a curtain up, and Clementine comes over and he kind of just settles the situation, puts everyone in their positions, and says like, we're fighting fascism here. Can we not? We're all in this together. And I really like that bit as well. I thought there's a lot of scenes in this film that I could go, that's my favourite, but I find it really hard to pick one.
Okay. Fair play. Do you want me to tell you mine?
Of course.
So mine is that sequence that you mentioned in the what we call the posh club, because there's two clubs in this. There's Saoirse Ronan takes is a like a sort of jazzy type club early on, and it's I think it was like South American singers, Caribbean singers. And then there's a sequence there and you see everyone like sort of dancing, having fun, and then later on they go to this posher club, which I've later found out through research is meant to be the Café de Paris in London.
Right.
Because there's a guy called Snake Eyes Johnson who's being played, and he's a jazz singer.
Right.
And he was killed when a bomb dropped on it in 1941. So they've taken it and put it in 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. There's another event that they kind of do that with, we'll talk about later on as well.
So in that sequence, it's not even with the main cast. It's like a sequence on itself. And you get this lovely sort of Goodfellas-esque continuity shot where they go through the doors and you see all the sort of the opulence of it all. And it's kind of, I think it's trying to show you how people were living their life still, even though the bombs were going off outside.
Yeah.
Things kept happening. And then there's a lovely sequence where they hear a noise and they all look up at the skylight, and something's coming down. You know, it must either be air landmine or something. And then they cut, and then it's the sequence with all the blast-lunged bodies, and they're sitting where they were when the bomb went off. And if you don't know what blast lung is, it's when a bomb goes off, the air's sucked out of the area, and all your lungs are ruptured, and you just sit where you were. So there's a lot of testimony from the Blitz of firemen, ARP wardens going into houses and people just sitting where they were. You know, and there's the famous anecdote of the bus just being full of people as if they were waiting for it to go. And it's very, very eerie and very creepy.
It is.
But then and this is a weird sequence, because obviously that sequence is really creepy and eerie. But then it's where the movie chooses to do a little bit of comedy. So
it's very
Stephen
dark,
Graham,
very well done.
So by this point in the movie, obviously we're doing spoilers. So by this point in the movie, George has got back to London, but he's been kind of press ganged into this sort of underground sort of thieving gang that's led by Graham.
Yeah. They wanted someone small to get into an antique shop, didn't they?
And steal
some bits and bobs. Yeah.
And that's a lovely little thing, because it's showing crime during the Blitz and during wartime London. Because if you're into your crime and your sort of things like murders, things like that, wartime crime just absolutely rife. And some amazing things happened in terms of that history. Anyway, so you've got Stephen and Albert and Beryl, Kathy Burke, Stephen Graham's characters, going around stealing things from the bodies. But there's also in that sequence the wardens who are coming in to check if anyone's still there, and they're shining their torches, and everyone freezes and they don't get caught. That's quite scary, like creepy. But then there's a bit where Kathy picks up a arm, and like puts it on George's shoulder, and it really freaks him out. And then there's a bit where they have a bit of back and forth, her and Stephen Graham, where they're talking about this woman who's like, you know, sort of dead sitting next to him. And Kathy says something like, she's nice, but she's a bit stiff. And it's just they choose to sort of cut through the eeriness and creepiness in that scene with a bit of comedy. And it's really, you only really see maybe 5-10 minutes of Kathy Burke and Stephen Graham. And obviously I would choose their sequences this week. But it's just fantastic. Like a really good, great set piece with you know, the eeriness and creepiness of it all, but then showing that not everyone is a kind of cool, blimey, mate, we're going to get through this, you know, kind of Londoner, which is really nice to see.
It's a very clever sequence, because it touches on it not only gives you that you know, wealthy upper class sort of background of what's going on during the Blitz, but then gives you the underclass, the crime element of it. And then it explains something that's probably not fully realized unless you've read a bit about the Blitz, you know, the blast and the concussive, you know, deaths. And, you know, I think Kathy Beck does a bit of exposition for the audience.
Yeah, she does, yeah.
She says to George, don't worry about them, their lungs burst in the explosion. You know, and in the way she says it, it's a great delivery. And she's so creepy in it. It's
she's great. She's brilliant. You know, you could spin them off into their own film if you wanted to. You know, they're that strong. Yeah. But anyone in this,
it had an almost sort of like Ealing Studios vibe to it.
Their bit did, yeah. You know, you could see Graham being like Sid James in like the 50s. You know, someone like that. No, I really, really enjoyed that sequence, and it just because of what it showed you and then what it did with it. And that movie does a lot of this. It shows you a lot of destruction and death, but it doesn't overdo it. I think it knows how to tackle it, because this movie could have just been people running through streets with bombs going off, and it isn't that. And I think it's a
No.
lot better for it. It's a lot more tasteful.
It is tasteful. I agree with that. It's beautifully handled because I like the way that they depict the Blitz in this, the actual bombing of the element of the Blitz, because the film is punctuated by these sequences that show the briefest glimpse of like Dorniers and stuff and Heinkels.
The outline of them, yeah.
And then you in the night sky, and then you get like the screaming bomb for like maybe 2 seconds, and then it cuts back to wherever.
It doesn't have to show you.
And it doesn't, but it does it every now and then, and it punctuates. And if you notice that those sequences get longer and longer towards the climax.
Yeah, they do.
And it punctuates it in a really clever way, because it introduces the next sort of like act almost.
Yeah, it's that sort of vignette thing I was talking about. It definitely has structure. And that's what I really liked about the movie. It doesn't pander to the audience by sort of showing you a load of bombers in the sky, people looking up, seeing the bombs fall on them.
Yeah,
it doesn't
do that. No,
this isn't like Hope, as you mentioned it before. This isn't Hope and Glory's version of the Blitz, which is not as, it's done a different. I'm not saying it's worse, but it's just a different way of doing it. It doesn't. You don't have to see. You don't have to see people blown to smithereens. You don't have to see like houses absolutely torn asunder to get the vibe of the Blitz. This movie does it. You know,
2/3 of the way through, I was wondering, like, are we ever going to see the bombs actually land? Are we going to see that on screen? And we do see it eventually. Like, it is that final climactic act. But it's kind of it's interesting because for the longest time it doesn't show those bombs land, because it just shows them falling through the air and the whine, and then it cuts to whatever's going on. But that whine throughout kind of the first 2/3 of the film, it's a hint at like an ever-present danger.
That's
which kind of speaks to the current, sorry, not current, but constant feeling that people must have had that tonight or today could be the day that a bomb lands on my house, or kills me. So I thought that was very effective.
Yeah, we're sliding into final thoughts. We may as well start final thoughts.
As always, final thoughts just becomes the other talking points.
It does, doesn't it? Long-time listeners know that we always struggle to get into the final thoughts. Yeah, I mean, picking up where you were talking about, like I also like that what you were saying, but I like the fact they chose it to be the early Blitz. So you can see people struggling to get into the underground. You know, you've got a great sequence where a guy goes, "Well, I've got a ticket for the train tomorrow." He goes, "We can't stay here." And he goes, "Well, I'm just waiting. I'm just early." You know, and it's things like this happened.
Yeah,
people were clever. They were trying to work the system. You've got communities coming together to band together to, like, go underground for the night, things like that. I really liked it. It bucked that kind of, "You're all right, mate, I'm a Londoner." It bucked that kind of that in movies that I've talked about before, where you kind of, anyone who isn't the main character who lives in a city is always like, "Well, yeah, you're right, mate." We didn't have that. We didn't have like Cockney oiks running around. It didn't have that. It felt more genuine, like a genuine representation of London and people. I think it treats everyone with respect. And I'm going to go out on a limb. For me, I think this is perhaps the best UK American effort for the genre this year. And I think for me, it just pips Lee to the post. But I can't define why to you that I think this movie is better. I think maybe the pacing is stronger for me. The story is perhaps, in terms of a narrative anyway, because this is made up, Lee was real, Lee's a biopic, it's completely different. But the narrative was perhaps a little bit stronger in terms of me as an audience member, knowing where we're going to get to with George's journey. I'm not putting Lee down, but I think it's very close
probably
this
second
year.
best. Yeah.
Very close this year, yeah. And as we mentioned, I like the fact they didn't directly show the bombing. Apart from one brief scene of Docklands ablaze, you don't really see much destruction in terms of the direct effects of bombs. And as Matt said, at its core, it's a road movie, but I think it's more about people and resilience, and unashamedly like showing the rich cultural makeup of Britain at that time and the British war effort. That I think is sometimes, I mean, I know a few people are probably going to be upset at this movie that it tackles racism.
Yeah.
But I think
An
it does
empire.
it an empire, yeah, and colonialism, an empire, but it does it in a really good way. I think personally, if you don't know a lot going into this, I think you'll come out a little bit more understanding of the makeup
Yeah.
of Britain at that time.
I mean, let's face it, it's London. It's the most diverse city in the country at that time.
And it always probably has been.
Yeah, exactly. It's, if you didn't touch on this and it being Steve McQueen,
no, I was expecting
of course he's going to. And he didn't batter us over the head with it. He did it in a way that is accessible and understandable. And of course, there's going to be people that might not have enjoyed that, but it's McQueen's film. I
think it works.
It's a very competent film, and I think the way it depicts the history is a lot more nuanced and open than previous depictions. That we come to kind of like culturally, we acquiesce around this idea of the Blitz being, it's all huddled under in the Anderson shelters. We're all going to pull through and it's stiff upper lip and all this. There's a lot more to it than that.
No, there is a lot more.
And I think this film takes a very serious stab at trying to depict a lot of different elements. And like I said at the start of the show, a lot goes into this film. There's almost too much going on with this film. I think for me, it touches on so many aspects of the home front, the BBC, the munitions factory, the ARP, the AFS, Black and Empire culture, auxiliary fire service. I mentioned that already. The criminal underworld.
So good, you mentioned it twice.
Exactly. Upper class, lower class nightlife. There's so much going on. Like it's
because it's a film about people. Because that's what the home front is about. It's about people.
For me, I think this film is a perfect example of what a modern war movie can be, or a timeless war movie can be. Like we've seen it done, throughout the genre. This is what the genre is really strong at. It tells human stories through war, and I think because obviously war is the most complex thing humans can go through. We've always said on the show that the strength of the war movie genre is the fact that it can tell stories that are more than just fighting, like combat films. That's not what the war movie genre is kind of like.
And I think we're beyond the combat genre. I think now.
I think so. I think the combat genre is dormant.
It's not dead, but no one's done it justice for years.
Yeah.
Outpost came close. That's probably the closest thing to a combat movie that's been made in the last 5 years to me.
Yeah.
But no, I totally get where you're coming from. Like this is the genre showing you, look, we're a lot more. This is a lot more than guns, tanks.
Yeah, this is what we can do
shooting.
with it. Yeah.
And we've been overdue a very good home front movie for years, and I think this
really
one does
have,
it good. Does it really well.
I mean, I was trying to think of a few, and so, in terms of diversity, I thought like this is the most diversity we've had in a home front war movie since Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yeah, you got a point. It does say a lot.
that sequence in the marketplace.
Yeah, it does say a lot. Because the post Golden Age really is kind of is lacking a lot of diversity in terms of the British war effort. And this movie does it very well. It handles it. I think it handles it perfectly. It doesn't overdo it either. No,
I was just going to caveat off that and say that it does it, but it does it in such a cinematic way. It's so well shot,
and it's contextualized, and it's not doing it for doing its sake.
No.
I can completely understand that some chaps on a night out would hassle Saoirse Ronan for going out with Afro-Caribbean man. I see that happening. It's contextual, and I can see the police turning up and blaming it on the Caribbean man because they only came in at the end of the fight. Like it all works thematically and storytelling wise. It's how it's done. It's not doing it for doing its sake. It's trying to tell you something. Whether you take that away with you, that'll come down to the personal viewer. But I personally felt it was very well handled.
Well, yeah, it's meat on the bones of the characters that we come to love throughout the film.
Yeah,
and I that sequence that I was just mentioning there, the climactic moment of this where George finds himself in the underground station when it floods.
Oh gosh,
which we haven't touched on, which is the climax of the film, and it's a really interesting choice to depict what is kind of it's a riff on the Balham underground station flood, isn't it? When that massive bomb burst all the water mains and sewer lines and stuff. and it collapsed some of the exits to the Balham station.
And that comes off of a beautiful dream sequence.
It does. There's like a very striking sequence where everyone that he's seen throughout the film that has passed on, because he's going to be dealing with so much after this.
Oh my, everyone is.
And I think that sequence underlines that. It shows Benjamin Clementine's character and some little boys that he met on the train, one of the trains he was on.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in this film. It's hard to do justice in an episode.
It really is.
But overall, I think really well directed, very well written to cram that much in, just to hammer home that point. Yeah. I think one of the strongest war movies I've seen, in the last 5 years, definitely the best this year.
I think it's best of the year, personally.
US, UK sphere.
Yeah, and I think we've said that a lot was riding on Lee and this, in terms of us from the show point of view, because we don't think it's been the strongest year for Western efforts of war films. Europe is kicking our butts with what they've been coming out with.
Europe and non-English language films are way ahead of us.
Really have. And I think this might help going forward. There's a lot of things on the burner at the moment, depending on when they get made, when they get released. I know that the chap that made Outpost is currently shooting a Battle of the Bulge movie called Lucky Strike. That's in production at the moment. That's something to look forward to. I mean, if it's even half of what Outpost was, I'm sure it will be something. That's got Scott Eastwood and Tom Hanks' boy in it.
Colin Hanks.
Colin Hanks. That's it. I always want to say Clive. I know it's wrong. Anyway, but for me, the only thing about this movie that I'm going to say is a criticism and an annoyance is the fact it's gone straight to blooming streaming on Apple, which we know from reports isn't the most watched streaming service.
Indeed. But thank you to Apple for giving us the streaming.
Massive thank you to Apple, obviously. But this is personal opinion. I just wish this had a little bit longer in the cinema. I know it costs money. I know it's hard. I know marketing costs a hell of a lot. And this year's been a horrific year for the industry in terms of marketing and films flopping, and barely anything this year's made its money back. It's been a really weird year for movies in general. And I think we're going to even see a bigger push to streaming in the future, because you don't have to show your losses, do you? You don't have to say it.
No.
As long as you make a handful of shareholders happy.
But on the other end of that, like, would this film have been made if Apple hadn't been there to finance it?
That's the caveat.
Would one of the other big studios have gone with this? Because the war movie genre is a gamble right now, isn't it? So it
is, yeah,
and,
massive.
I don't know whether we would have got this, which would have been a shame if we hadn't, I think.
No, I think you're right. But that's my only criticism this week. And the second one, I'd love to have seen some local defence volunteers or home guard running around.
Some home guard would have been great. Yeah,
you can't have everything.
Just marching past in the background, or
would have been nice. Nice. Or even if George had bumped into some in a field or something when he's trying to get home.
Yeah. When he jumps off the train. Yeah. Totally.
That would have been good. Anyway, but that was Blitz 2024. Thanks for sticking with us on the show. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. Too much to go into now, but me and Matt will be, if you're listening to this on the time of release, well, we would have done it. We've been to see SAS Rogue Heroes Season 2 at the BFI. Do check out the Twitters for that and the X for that. Yeah, very exciting. Christmas is nearly upon us, so look out for maybe some Christmas-related FOF content when we work out what it is, because we've had to change plans because everything's going on, folks. Life is gonna life. But thanks for sticking.
We're both having a chaotic time. It's true.
We're both having a run at things, aren't we? Anyway, so thanks for sticking with Fighting on Film. This odd upload schedule hopefully won't be with us for long. And yeah, do join us next time for more Fighting on Film. And we'll catch you again next week. Bye bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.